It's no secret Johnny Carson was a ladies' man, considering his 3 marriages. But sometimes that charm became something more dangerous, live on his own show. You are a pretty lady. You get tired of people talking about your looks, and how stunning you are all the time. This is Johnny Carson dangerously flirting with his own guests, and the moments have resurfaced in the age of TikTok, where classic Tonight Show clips regularly go viral. Introducing Gen Z to the king of late night. Johnny brings up dating Diane Cannon. After the second time I was with him, I called my mom and dad and said, "This is it. I'm going to be with this man for as long as I live." Now, can I ask you something without getting too intimate? How do you know after? I mean, we got out a couple times, right? Why are you laughing? See, there's the difference right there. Diane Cannon openly circles the fact that she and Johnny had dated before, as he brings up their shared history with a mix of curiosity and flirtation, a dynamic that feels particularly loaded in today's era of scrutinizing power imbalances between hosts and guests. Doris Day has Carson speechless. When a friend of mine and I were flying from London to Los Angeles, we took the polar route and were flying over Greenland, and she said, "Do you see any strays, Clara? If you saw a stray whale, you take it in. And all I can tell you is that the only way I'm going to live through it is to live on a boat. And then I'll probably pick up fish. I don't know. Do they live in a house? They live in a house, out in the yard, wherever they want to be. My house is their house." Johnny quietly says, "I'm not fond of animals." Doris Day's first Carson appearance has a graceful, almost shy flirtation running through it, as Johnny becomes quieter around her with more admiration than punchline chasing. The gentle tension between the animal-loving star and the famously fastidious host creates an unintentional romantic comedy dynamic. Johnny compliments Bo Derek. This 1979 Tonight Show appearance became iconic for one simple reason. The audience got to witness Carson completely drop his professional host persona and become a desperate fan. The segment has been analyzed endlessly on YouTube essay channels, examining how Bo Derek's appearance represented a cultural moment when beauty standards shifted dramatically in Hollywood. Carson can't keep his eyes off Ann-Margret. "When somebody says that I'm sexy, I am very flattered. I think any woman would be if she's honest with herself. Don't you enjoy being called sexy? Don't you enjoy when a woman calls you sexy?" Johnny responds, "Yeah, I kind of like it. Do you think I'm sexy?" She answers, "Yes, I do. You have a very boyish sexiness." Johnny grins, "Well, you can get away with murder." Ann-Margret gives the show a burst of performance-driven flirtation as she arrives with incredibly stunning looks and a playful sense of danger. Their exchange feels like two people fully aware of their mutual attraction and completely willing to let the audience watch it unfold live. Johnny loves talking with Bernadette Peters. An evening April 28th, Rosemary Clooney has a benefit every year, and it's really great, and it's called the Betty Clooney Foundation, and it's for brain injuries. Joel Grey is going to be there, and Cleo Lane. Well, it's singers honoring songwriters, and so it should be a great evening. Johnny says, "You sure know how to sing." Bernadette Peters brings a Broadway sparkle to the show, and Johnny's response is full of amused attention as he flirts by listening closely, then slipping in reactions that show he's enjoying the performance beyond the official interview. His admiration for her talent becomes its own form of seduction. Meline Khan's charm pulls Carson in. "I've always wondered, when will I really be able to say what I want? What would you like to say now that you get off your chest? Anything bothering you or bugging you? Do you have any phobias at all? An unnatural fear of something? A lot of people are afraid of the dark. Ed has acrophobia, a fear of heights." Meline pauses, then delivers, "I do not like balls coming toward me." The audience erupts. Meline Khan gives Johnny a different kind of flirtation, built on nerves, oddball charm, and brilliant comic timing. The conversation about phobias lets her be vulnerable and funny at the same time, which brings out Johnny's softer teasing side. Her unique blend of anxiety and sensuality creates a chemistry that feels genuinely unpredictable. Liv Ullmann's slow smile flirtation captivates. "I was sitting in a makeup chair, and we were talking, and all of a sudden I turn around, and this man is standing right there. And you said we are married." He says, "I'm her husband." "Nice. Very nice fellow. And you are engaged anyway. You know, I believe in long engagements. Were you engaged long before you were married?" Liv responds, "No, I wasn't engaged at all. But you see, I had been married once before." Johnny replies, "Well, I'm not Mother Teresa myself, you know." Liv's segment isn't the obvious kind of flirting, and that's exactly what makes it fascinating. Johnny moves through the conversation with softer curiosity, asking about romance, marriage, and the emotional language around attraction with genuine interest, rather than a setup for a punchline. The Scandinavian star's quiet intensity forces Carson to abandon his usual rapid-fire approach. Johnny hits on Cloris Leachman. Do you remember the play? It was a love scene. Close up. I don't know who the actor was. The next 50 years is going to be... It was entitled Nocturne. Well, does that mean anything at all, or did they just blend together? Cloris fires back with comic confidence. I told a story one night on your show about a live playhouse where the man forgot his lines, and we were 5 minutes short. Those days it was all live. We just went home. We thought it was their problem. Cloris Leachman gives Johnny a completely different kind of flirtation. She doesn't sit waiting to be admired, but attacks the conversation with comic aggression that keeps him genuinely uncertain about where the segment is heading. Johnny flirts back by letting himself get pulled into her chaos, while still trying to look like he has some control over the proceedings, which the audience can see he absolutely doesn't. Her recent passing in 2021 brought renewed attention to these classic appearances. Mitzi Gaynor's glamour distracts Johnny. Everybody is practicing their hands in the whole green room, and everybody's saying, how am I going to follow that act? There's no way unless you brought back one of the animals. I'm so excited to be on the show with you, because I've really seen you a lot on television. I've done this show maybe 20 times, and I have never done it with you, and you're really here. You're real. Mitzi Gaynor's appearance gives Johnny a guest who understands glamour as performance, and he clearly enjoys playing along. She carries herself like a star who knows the room is watching every gesture she makes from the moment she sits down. Her passing in 2024 made these clips go viral again, with fans celebrating her old-school Hollywood presence. Johnny asks her about writers. You just said writers are weird. Mitzi responds, I think you have to be possessed to be a really good writer. You have to hear voices. And you know what they do to people who hear voices? To get dialogue down, you really have to pick up on people's vibrations. Johnny deadpants. They really know how to make a girl feel welcome. Johnny's flirtation comes through admiration for her energy, her polish, and her ability to make a talk show couch feel like a variety show stage. Mitzi doesn't need to force the charm since her personality already has a musical rhythm that pulls attention without demanding it. Johnny responds with that polished host smile that says he is both amused and genuinely impressed, which is the specific combination he almost never allowed both to show simultaneously. Isn't that fabulous? My husband is his biggest fan. Who is your husband, dog? He's a fantastic man with supreme taste. Can he get me a job? Can anybody get anybody a job? Bobby, you will work again. You believe in the nutritional values and the afterlife. There's nothing that can stop you. If you don't get it right this time, you get a chance to come back. Do you know that for sure? Mitzi's old-school entertainment training made her comfortable in the Carson format in a way many guests simply weren't. Johnny's visible pleasure at having someone who could perform and converse simultaneously without needing the interview format to carry all the weight shows in every small smile he produces during the appearance. Maureen O'Hara flirts with respect. I said, well, I'd like to meet the two young men, Christopher Columbus and Aunt Lowry. So I flew out to L.A. and I met them, and in about 5 minutes we loved each other. I liked them. I thought it would be wonderful to work for them. And then I said, no, but wait a minute. I think I also need to meet John Candy. So John was up in Chicago. You were in Chicago, but you flew into Chicago, didn't you? From Canada. Johnny replies, I just go along. Maureen O'Hara brings a commanding old Hollywood presence to the couch, and Johnny meets her with visible respect and playful admiration. The flirtation has a bold Irish warmth, especially when her confidence starts steering the room in directions he clearly wasn't expecting. I flew into Chicago, and this time it was like 50 seconds. I just looked at him. I looked into those gorgeous eyes, and I said, yes, I'll be his mom. The eyes did it, huh? That's right. The eyes always do it. Well, I kind of thought we looked a little bit alike. We have the same kind of teeth. We have the same mouth and the same eyes. We all know that John Candy is a marvelous comedy actor, a marvelous sketch actor. Johnny didn't try to overpower her, which is what makes the chemistry so enjoyable and so distinctly different from most of his other flirtatious segments. He reacts like a man who knows he is sitting next to someone with more than enough personality to take complete control whenever she decides she wants it. John Candy comes into his own as a fine dramatic actor. Just you wait in a little while. He's too young right now, but very soon John Candy is going to be doing all the great roles that Charles Laughton has done. He's going to be doing witness for the prosecution and all the marvelous roles. He is a fantastic actor. You listen to Mother. Johnny smiles and responds, I listen. Johnny's smiles and careful questions make it abundantly clear he is enjoying the challenge, which is rare since most guests gave him what he wanted long before he had to work for anything during 3 decades of hosting. The contrast between her old Hollywood grandeur and her absolute refusal to be polished or cautious gives the segment an edge that the softer glamour conversations simply couldn't produce. Maureen's directness gives the exchange a sharper flavor, making every response feel less like an interview answer and more like a position she has decided to hold regardless of what Johnny had planned. Her comfort in her own authority reads as flirtation because self-assurance on a Carson couch was always the most attractive possible quality a guest could bring into that room. Johnny's visible uncertainty about where the conversation is heading shows a host who had stopped trying to predict anything and was simply responding to whatever came next with the best tool he had, charm. The segment captures a completely different version of Johnny Carson than the one who spent most of his career carefully controlling every room he occupied. It shows that the right guest could make the most prepared host in television history genuinely and happily uncertain about what would happen next, and grateful for the experience of finding out. From Bo Derek making restraint look like the most obvious comedy in the world, to Meline Khan turning phobia talk into something Johnny couldn't quite steer away from, to Ann-Margret arriving with enough charisma to flip the host into an observer inside his own broadcast. These women collectively answered a question nobody thought to ask. What happens when the most prepared man in television sits across from someone who didn't need any preparation at all? Each one brought a completely different kind of flirtation, showing that Carson's chemistry with his guests was never one thing, but entirely separate situations that all somehow ended the same way, with Johnny smiling through the evidence that he had momentarily lost the room. In an era where late-night hosting has evolved dramatically, with figures like Jimmy Fallon and Stephen Colbert facing their own scrutiny over interview dynamics, these classic Carson moments remind us why the original king of late night remains unmatched in his ability to create genuine, unpredictable television magic.